Thank you so much for listening to Blue Sky Radio. Today's the 27th of December. This is radiowaterloo.ca if you're online, 102.7 FM if you are in Kitchener, and Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. And you can also find our conversation currently on Blue Sky Radio's Facebook page. And I want to welcome Neta Rhyne. Neta Rhyne is somebody who is an advocate for horses and a really amazing human being. Thank you so much, Neta, for coming on Blue Sky Radio today.
Good morning, Yinny. Thank you so much for having me.
So we were chatting a little bit before we went live here, and the topic is raising awareness really for horses and horses in need. And would you go ahead and introduce yourself, first of all, to our listeners?
Sure. My name is Neta Rhyne. I'm founder of Thundering Hooves, which is a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to not only share the joy and beauty of the horse, but also bring awareness to the many issues horses are facing today, with our main focus being on horse slaughter.
Okay, so what made you decide to start Thundering Hooves?
I live in Toyville, Texas, and the kill buyers, as they're commonly referred to, go through here, past my house, past my business, hauling trailers full of horses, slaughter-bound horses, down to the slaughter export pens in Presidio, Texas, where they are then hauled across the border to the slaughter plants in Mexico. As much as I want to do whatever it takes to get those horses out of the trailers, I'm helpless because the law is in their favor. I would be committing a crime if I was to do what I really want to do. So I decided to create a platform of awareness to educate and inform, and that's what Thundering Hooves, that was the birth of Thundering Hooves, basically.
Could I ask you when you started all of this?
I really started actively being a voice, I guess you would say, in 2011. There was one day in particular I was standing next to the road, and a truck went by with a trailer full, and he had the slats. The trailer was slatted, and you could see the horses in the trailer. And one horse caught my eye. I mean, it just touched my heart. Horses are sentient beings, and they know. They know the minute they're loaded in that trailer, I've no doubt they know this is not good, that they are, that they're in danger, and they're afraid. You can see the fear in their eyes through those trailers. So that touched me, and I thought, the realization that this was their last ride hit me, and I thought, what can we do to change this? What can we do to keep them out of those trailers? And I envision them running free back from the border to here, to Toyville, where they would remain safe forever.
Yeah, I know, it's really heartbreaking. And I mean, you see a lot of images. I can't imagine what it's like for you to live nearby and to have to witness, and the feeling of lack of power, but you were able to turn it around in a way by starting your advocacy group, and you've done so much more, and we'll get to their last ride, the documentary that you are co-writing, or wrote, really. So, I mean, I know that horses mean a lot to you. Can you describe to the listeners what horses mean to you? Horses are beautiful. They have a beautiful spirit, and whatever you give to them, they give in return 1,000-fold. They care for you. They love you. They depend on you, and I have just always connected to the spirit of the horse, and what I have gotten in return is a gift. They have a gift that they give to us. Yeah. So you mentioned their last ride, and it actually became a documentary. Would you mind sharing with us how that came about?
Sure. my trading post is located here on the highway of their last ride, and inside the trading post on the walls, I have a lot of information about horse slaughter. I have handouts to hand out to people. One day, a local filmmaker, Michael Aku Rodriguez, walked into the trading post looking for my husband, actually. And of course, the conversation turned into a discussion about horse slaughter. Aku had no idea that the horses were going through here in these trailers where they were headed. So I was going to, Thundering Hooves was going to have an event in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I invited Aku to come along and film the Thundering Hooves event, which I had not had a complete event filmed before. And so he went along and filmed it. When we returned, he made the statement, this would make a good documentary film. So I thought, that would be another awareness platform. So I gave him all the information I had. He compiled it into a 5-minute trailer along with the footage that he took of the Thundering Hooves event. And we entered that into Equus Film Festival and started winning awards, which is just amazing. So that showed me that a film is a vehicle to carry the message forward. We're reaching new audiences and reminding people how truly beautiful these majestic animals are, and they deserve so much better than to be loaded into a trailer and slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen the full documentary, but I have seen trailer, and it's really beautifully made, and you're able to touch on the spirit and the beauty of the horses, but also the tragedy and the trauma that it really is. But you're right, it is a great vehicle to bring the message forward, and lots of people still are not aware of the machine that horse slaughter is. So there's definitely a lot of potential to reach more audiences.
This is true, and when you put up, I had an event, my first Thundering Hooves event was in Alpine, Texas, a community here that a lot of the trailers are, the kill buyers drive through going to Presidio. And I thought, if I put up a Stop Horse Slaughter banner and bring awareness to where these trailers, where all these horses are being hauled, that people would be outraged. And the minute I put up, I attached Stop Horse Slaughter to this event, people turned away from it. So that taught me that if I was going to create a productive platform to achieve what I want to do, and that is to be a voice for the slaughter-bound horses, that I was going to have to change the focus of the event, not really take it off of horse slaughter, but place the focus on the beauty of the horse, to celebrate and honor the horse. And you cannot do that with also recognizing the hardships that they're facing today. So Thundering Hooves has proven to be a great platform for creating awareness and education and drawing people in to celebrate and honor the horse. Mm-hmm.
And you were recently at the Equus Film Festival in New York.
Yes, I had the privilege of going to New York. Lisa Dearson and Diana DeRosa have created an amazing venue. Equus Film Festival gives horse lovers an opportunity to share their talents, their many talents, and everything horse. So it's a beautiful, beautiful event. Mm-hmm. And I was honored to be.
Yeah. What were the audience's reception of their last ride?
Their last ride is always received very well. Again, it's not a in-your-face horse slaughter film. Mm-hmm. It's presented in a way that people want to learn more.
Yeah.
They don't walk away feeling defeated. They walk away and they want to know more. They ask questions, and that's exactly why this film was created.
Yeah, it's definitely a very difficult topic. I was when I first learned about horse slaughter here in Canada and how everything is connected and how American horses come here to Canada to be slaughtered, and when I first started talking about it with people that I knew, I've had the same reaction, that a lot of people, they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to hear about it. And you're right about needing to find a way to I guess, relay horses from another perspective, not to just to focus on the end, but the life that horses are able to bring to us and all the beauty. And I always say too, horses, we can really thank horses for everything we have in our lives. Where we are today is because of all the hard work that horses and our ancestors really put into getting us to where we are. And how do we say thank you to that being? By treating them this way. And when you think about all the mental health benefits of having horses in our lives, I always say too, can you imagine if we had community stables for people, for inner city kids and for people with mental health, depression, and all of this? Horses could just help everybody so much. There would be a way to use horses, as opposed to sending them to slaughter, just to increase, because lots of people don't have the privilege or luxury of having horses even near them.
The spirit of the horse is, I have a little colt now, a little colt statue. His name is Tornado. Last week, I took him, or he was at the Allison Cancer Center in Midland, Texas, where we spent the day with pediatric patients that were coming in for treatment. And it was so amazing to me. I wish I could bottle up and put that energy into a bottle, and sell it to people, because what that little colt statue, an inanimate object, accomplished was nothing beyond amazing. We wheeled him up. He's on a base with wheels, so when the pediatric clinic ended, we wheeled him up to the pediatric unit of the hospital and was able to visit the children patients there. And the minute their door opened and they saw that little colt statue, they just lit up. Nobody taught those children that they have to love horses. Nobody said, okay, if you see a horse, you have to hug him. That's just in us, in our beings from the minute we're born. So that connection is very powerful. And it was a beautiful thing to witness how this little colt statue brought so much joy. If we could spread that joy around, we'd keep those horses out of those trailers.
Yeah, I know. And there's so many people who could use a little bit of good in their life, especially people in a hospital like that, and kids. And I often think too about kids who have been taken from their parents and they're in foster. It would be nice if we had compassionate organizations working to, bring horses into people's lives, just to show that we still care. We care about each other. We may not know each other, but there's still love out there. There's enough love out there to go around for everyone. And we do it for free. That is the best part of all of this, that people do stuff for free because of the goodness of their hearts, whereas other people get paid to do the most insane and evil deeds that you can imagine, and whereas other people like yourself are out here really spreading love. And thank you so much, Neta, for your compassion. It's truly an honor to have you on Blue Sky today. Thank you so much for coming on. And we're sharing some of the images that you had sent me on Facebook Live as well. And so these are where the horses are heading to Mexico, and they're, I guess, sitting at the border there. And what a awful ride it is for them.
If you're looking at that picture, that's actually at the border. That's where they're crossing the border into Mexico. When I first started on this journey, that crossing was just, there was nothing there. You see now it's all built up and cameras and everything that they have. But before, it was just a crossing. You had the border crossing point, checkpoint there, and that was it. And the trailers would line up. There was one particular day I was there and parked. There's an area you can park right there to the left. And it was interesting to me, the trailers, when they would pull up and lined up on this particular day, there were, I think, if I remember correctly, 5 trailers in a row. when they line up, it was hot. It was in the summertime, and the horses, it was quiet. When they got to that point and they stopped, the trailer stopped, the horses in one particular trailer just started going crazy. I mean, they were kicking, and the noise was, it was hard to hear. But I got out of my vehicle and walked around to the side and looked in, and they were just packed in there, and they wanted out. They did not want to be in there.
No.
So that, and I thought, if the driver of that truck knew when he climbed into that cab that this was his last ride, what would he do?
Yeah.
I often think about it. What, do they just remove themselves from reality when they're hauling these horses? I can't imagine a human being with any amount of compassion doing this and being able to sleep at night. I just cannot.
I know. I ask myself the same question.
And then people will say, well, cows are slaughtered and pigs are slaughtered, and that's true. There's just, we as human beings need to get back to, I say back to the basics. We need to respect life. My grandmother had 17 children. I have uncles my age, and she raised cattle and chickens. She fed her family. That's how she fed her family. But it was not she did not disrespect the animals. They were very respected. And if we could just get back to that, if we could get away from this, we live in a throwaway society now. So if you have a horse and you've outgrown him or he serves no purpose, then we throw him away. We carry him to auctions. You have your special breeders that overbreed to get that one specific perfect horse. And I wonder, do they ever think about where the ones that they kicked out of didn't meet the mark? Do they ever think about where they're going and what's going to happen to them? We have to be conscious of our actions, and we have to be responsible for our actions. And treating animals in such a way is inhumane. I mean, there's no other way, no other word that could better describe it.
I agree. And we're disconnected from so many parts of the world and reality. We're disconnected from where our food come from. A lot of people are born in a city. They grew up in a city. They don't maybe even have the privilege of seeing open land. I'm not sure how right? Like, how does a person get to and you're right, pigs are slaughtered and cows are slaughtered, and it's very industrial. I always say too that if we can just be humane, there's, but everything is very fast, and you're right, we live in a throwaway society where people want something better and newer. There's always a new model coming out. And if you talk to people who love or say they love horses, but they are in this industry, there's a fair amount of denial that a person has to get themselves involved to be able to say you care for horses, but you also are pro-slaughter. Like, there's something missing definitely in that bit of connection there.
Right. The photograph showing now on the Facebook Live, I've sent that. If you can see, there's horses in the front of that trailer. That truck is coming back from Presidio. So those horses, wherever they were loaded into that trailer from, which was probably a great distance from here, they were hauled all the way to Presidio, and for whatever reason, they were rejected at the border. So they're labeled as rejects. When a horse is labeled as a reject from slaughter, then they're either left there, put in the back. Now, you have to think about where Presidio is. It's on the border of Mexico, so there's areas that people and animals alike can disappear, and nobody will ever ask questions. But these horses are rejects in that trailer. So they are hauled back to, probably this hauler is going to haul them back to wherever they came from to where his lot is, and they will either be recycled, hauled back to the border, and hopefully the kill buyers hope that they'll cross. But can you imagine these horses, these rejects, once they're rejected, their fate, their horror nightmare continues over and over and over. And to me, that's just unbelievable. And people don't know that. People, they hear about horse slaughter, they don't hear about the rejects. And that's an important story to tell. That's important for people to understand the enormity of the horrors the horses, once they're tagged for slaughter, are facing.
Yeah. And it kind of makes you wonder when they last had a drink of water or something to eat, right?
Oh, probably, I would have to look back who this hauler is, but days.
Yeah.
Days and days.
It's an interesting...
And
yeah, go on.
No, please, go ahead.
No, I just had a comment about how we manage to forget about living beings. It says something about the world. We treat our dogs and our cats really well for the most part. We wouldn't accept this kind of treatment if somebody didn't give their dog water for a few days. We would call that animal cruelty. So how do they get away with this?
Exactly. There's very few laws on the books to protect slaughter horses, and they're not enforced. I one time was standing by the road. There was a fire in the field behind us here, and we were down there visiting with a local deputy, and a hauler went by, and you could tell the horses were packed. You could tell the trailer was overloaded just by looking at it. And I asked him, of course, they know my cause, and they know I'm against this, and I advocate for the slaughter-bound horse to have rights, if you will. But I asked him, why do the law enforcement here turn their heads? Why do they not do anything? He said, well, think about it. If we stop them, we're going to have to confiscate the load because there obviously will be in violation. What are we going to do with 40 horses? Where are we going to take 40 horses? And I thought, how wrong is that? That, you know, it's these kill buyers go through here with a free pass, and they know it.
Yeah.
And how is that?
Yeah. No, it's really sickening. Well, hence why... yeah. Please go on.
We just have to... We're intelligent beings, and when you see... people ask, what can I do? Well, for one thing, we have to get the SAFE Act passed, and don't know if that's going to happen, but we have to stay at it. But when people see something that doesn't look right, they need to say something. No matter what, take down the information, get the license plate, the date and time. You know, don't be aggressive to the driver or try to cause any trouble, I tell them, because then you're in the wrong and you're not going to accomplish anything. Just say something, write down the information, and pass it on to the authorities, where hopefully they will do something.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the kind of thing, horse slaughter, it starts in a lot of different places, right? I mean, you got the people breeding, like you mentioned, you have, racing industry, and you have people that they don't want to keep their horse any longer, or you have some of the people who still use a horse and buggy to get down the road. It comes from so many different places, so the awareness bit is still very important. And I mean, it's not something that you can stop in a day. Hopefully we live in times where people kind of want to make decisions where they feel that their heart is in it as well, not just your brain. It seems like human beings just kind of want more, but the question is, when is it enough? When do we ever have enough? Because if we, you talked about getting back to the basics, and that makes a lot of sense to me, because that's what the earth can sustain. Earth can't sustain for us to have whatever people want, like so many vehicles, so many houses, so many, whatever it is people have. And in the long run, we really truly need community. We need peace on earth. Like, we need simple things, sustainability. We need each other. It's pretty simple,
Correct.
really. It's simple, but it's too simple for some, I guess.
It really is simple. We just have to, what's happened to compassion? What's happened to caring for one another, caring for the animals? Our ancestors respected the animals, and that's what the horses have been stripped of their dignity. These horses in these trailers, they're not respected. I often wonder, at what point did that horse lose respect? At what point did it become okay for that horse to be loaded into this trailer, for a slaughter tag to be slapped on him, and his only value is cents per pound, and then be loaded onto this trailer? Yeah. At what point can we as human beings, can we change that? What does it take? I do not understand why it continues to grow, this predatory industry, not only for horses, but for all animals that are slaughtered. It's a predatory industry, all of them. It's for profit, yeah. Plain and simple. And like the rejects, their value is zero. When that slaughter tag was put on them, their only value was cents per pound. When they get to the border and they're rejected, they have no value at all, period. And they're treated as such. Can you imagine putting a horse intentionally in the back of the slaughter pens and just leaving them there to die, no food, no water? What human being does that? Where do we, as human beings, what happens to us that we have reached the point that we just don't care about life? I don't have the answers. I don't know. But we have to get back to the basics. We have to respect life, and we have to, as human beings, join together. When I've learned the advocacy world is brutal. And if all the advocates could join together and shine a positive light on what we need to do. People want to be a part of something positive. They want to be a part of something that they know they've created results, that they can achieve something. When all they hear about is the bad, and, well, why do I want to join this anti-horse slaughter campaign? Because you're not doing anything. You're not getting anywhere with this. People don't want to be a part of that. So we have to switch it around and have people join us in this celebration of the horse, to honor and respect the horse, and we'll get somewhere eventually. Mm-hmm. My goal would be today. I know that's not going to happen, but we can't give up.
No. Well, you've definitely been able to accomplish something positive with Thundering Hooves, and it's really beautiful. Did you want to talk a bit about your memorial fence that you have there? We haven't...
Oh, please. I would...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. In 2012, Animals Angels, Sonia Meadows with Animals Angels, and Amber Taylor. Amber Taylor was a presenter at the Thundering Hooves event in Alpine in 2012. It was the Thundering Hooves Native Peoples event, and it was created to bring awareness. And again, I hung up the banner, Stop Horse Slaughter, and I learned that we're going to have to change our approach if we're going to get people interested. Well, Sonia held the Animals Angels annual Light the Sky ceremony, and along this event, we put memorials to animals, horses that had been slaughtered. People sent in memorials in honor of chickens and pigs, and it was just a beautiful thing to see people honoring and remembering animals that had touched their lives. That fence brought so much energy. Animals Angels Wall of Hope, we named it. along this fence line brought so much energy. I thought I wanted to continue that. So I created the Thundering Hooves Memorial Fence. We have life-size. We now have 4 life-size horses. We recently added a little life-size burro to the fence. We have halters hanging on the fence, memorials. People donate tack, saddles. We've had all kind of donations to this fence, and it's a 24/7 awareness. I call it silently powerful. This fence stands there in silence. It makes no noise. It beats no drums. There's no megaphones there with people shouting, "Stop horse slaughter." It's there, and it's powerful, and it draws people in. So many people have stopped that now it's like a roadside park even. And I have information available to them to take on facts on horse slaughter. I don't get into the graphics. I point out the simple facts, and these boxes, I have to refill them every week. Every time I'm down there, someone will stop, and then the important conversation begins about horse slaughter. And so it's just a beautiful thing. I'm amazed every day at what this simple fence along the highway of their last ride is creating, the awareness that it's bringing to people. I don't know how many people a day pass by that fence, but thousands. So it does what I could never do just by being there.
Yeah, that is really, really amazing. What a great idea. And it is nice to touch on the positive aspects. Sometimes maybe what happens with people is when we feel like we can't change something, we kind of shut down. It takes a tremendous strength to choose to be part of something with open eyes, to realize while you're realizing how difficult it is and how tragic it really is, and for you to be able to turn it into something positive where people can stop and get educated and choose to get involved. That's really powerful.
Oh, thank you. It's a blessing to me to be here, to have this opportunity. People say, I don't know how you do it. 7 years ago, if I could have written down step by step what Thundering Hooves would have accomplished, I never would have. No way would I have known everything Thundering Hooves would have accomplished. And sometimes I feel guilty because people will say, well, we humans make it about us. It's not about us, but it has to be the human hand, the human intervention to be the voice, to tell the stories, to bring awareness. So it's a blessing. I consider myself very blessed to be here, to be a witness, to see these horses, because when they pass through Toyavale, I honestly believe this is the last place that they will go through, that there is someone who's witnessing them and knows and cares.
Yeah, I know. And it's a good thing that you live there, because look at all the things that you have been able to do on behalf of horses, and creating this awareness and showing the beauty of horses and bringing people together. Because people, I believe a lot of people, and most people, have really good hearts in them. And when you talk to them, they want to make the right decision. They want to be part of something good. Like you say, people want to be part of something positive, and you're definitely able to make Thundering Hooves something positive. Really smart woman you are, really.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for that.
Well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
On the memorial fence, you can see there's red ties. This photograph here was taken last winter of the memorial fence, and I thought, wow, I drove down there. We had a lot of snow that night, and I drove down and pulled up to the fence, and these red ties were blowing, and it was so quiet, so peaceful, but the energy, it's you can touch it. It's like you can just reach out there and touch it and feel it. But these red ties were created, I call it the red ties for the horses, and they are, I was at the P&M Arena in Mesa, Arizona this earlier in the year, and we handed out, Amber Taylor's daughter, Kaylin, is part of that group. They have, during the early part of the season, they have events for the kiddos called Gymkhana to ride their horses, and I handed out these are teenagers, most of them, a red tie, and told them to wear this, to attach it to their horse, their saddle, and as a reminder to always honor and respect your horse. I understand the kiddos all still have the red ties on their saddles, and some of them even braided into the horse's mane. But what a simple way to be a reminder to honor and respect your horse. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a simple reminder that this is how we are to treat all animals, basically, with honor and respect.
Yeah, that's really a great idea, and a way for young people to be part of the solution, which is really to hold on to your horse also and respect your horse in this predatory, right?
Right, and we have to get away from, again, with social media and with the internet, people see so much, and a person, we have to get away from making people feel like we are attacking them. Mm-hmm. We have to join them in this effort to do the best for that horse in their custody or their care, whatever it might be. We have to join together and I'm just lost for words here, but we have to work out of love for the horse, and share that with everybody. Someone that has a horse that has reached the end of their life and needs to be put down, there's options available. If that person can't afford it, there's other options available. There's organizations out there that would help carry them through this process and make the best choice for the end of life for their horse. There's just so much out there that people aren't aware of that anything that we can do, any way we can help someone to keep those horses out of those trailers, we need to do it. And we need to act out of love and care for the horses and let the person know we're here to help them. There's help available.
Yeah, exactly. It is something that is kind of mind-blowing. In the last few years, there are so many horse rescues. You can kind of see that people have different ideas in how to help horses. Some people, they start a horse rescue, or they become advocates. They do events. They join each other online for awareness, and there's just so many ways that people try to bring awareness to horses, and then to connect it to the bigger world out there. I guess is the question, because it's such a busy world we live in, and so many questions. Politics are involved in everything, and money, and everything is happening so fast that we need to slow down before we literally will lose everything underneath our feet. And we can't make water. Do we really want to eat made up food in some kind of laboratory? Like, it's kind of, I keep asking myself, like, where are we heading unless we slow down? And
exactly.
Right?
Right. We have to, the Last Ride music video created the song was written by Gareth Lapling and Susan Oliver, and it's about the horses on The Last Ride. These films and music videos in this digital age and time, that's how we're going to reach people. So if we can keep creating these beautiful stories and educational films and music videos, but create them in a way that draw people in. Someone can go to a film festival and watch it, or YouTube and watch The Last Ride music video. That's a way people can sit in the privacy of their home and learn and be educated. We need to do more of that. We need to create more of these important films and music videos that tell the story as voices for the horses.
Yeah, that's true. What's next for you at this point?
Gosh, my calendar for 2019 is already full. This little colt Tornado is currently on his journey of joy, hope, and compassion, and it just is evolving into a beautiful story. He's going from the cancer center to Hope House, which is a house in Midland that cancer patients can stay. Most patients coming to the area drive great distances, so this Hope House is a beautiful place for them to stay. Thundering Hooves will be in Mesa, Arizona at the P&M Arena on Earth Day for a big celebration. The Last Ride and Their Last Ride, The Last Ride music video and Their Last Ride documentary film are both on tour now with Equus Film Festival. We'll be in Maryland in January, in Camden in February, then Santa Fe in March. So that's going to be an exciting year of traveling with this The Last Ride documentary film, again, as a vehicle to carry the message. So we have a lot on our schedule for 2019.
That's awesome. Yeah, we just have Their Last Ride, your poster for the documentary up right now, and I'm really happy to hear about all the different stops the film festival has. It's really amazing.
It is. It's very exciting. That on the poster that's on the screen now, that skull is named Spirit. Amber Taylor and Sonia Meadows were down in Presidio on an investigation, and they found this skull and brought it up to me. When they placed that skull in my hands, I could feel the energy, the spirit of that horse that for whatever reason ended up in Presidio and was obviously rejected because of where the skull was found. It had to have been one of them that was rejected and left to die. So Spirit travels with me. She goes everywhere I go as a voice for the rejects and for the horses on their last ride. At one of the Santa Fe events, an artist, a beater, took measurements and sent me a beautiful beaded breastplate to put on Spirit. So she's adorned now and just creates so many conversations about horse slaughter, that everything that has happened along this journey has happened as a way to move forward to carry the message for the horses on their last ride.
Yeah. Wow. It is really incredible. And, and maybe this is the time. Maybe now people's hearts are open. I think there's enough trouble in the world that now, today, we are able to see something good in front of us. And because it's really easy to see the bad. And I think people naturally will turn to something that feels right. And sometimes it's really easy to make that distinction of good and bad. And this is definitely one of those moments where you want to be on the right side of things. You want to be on the side where the compassion is and the belonging, really. Thank you so much, Neta. What is your vision? What is your vision for horses?
My vision for horses is the vision I had that day. I was so touched by that horse, that slaughter-bound horse in that trailer, and that's for all horses to be wild and free. And when I say wild, I mean horses to be where they are meant to be, in the surroundings where they can live as a horse, as horses were meant to live. You know, our government is going to wipe out all the wild horses. I often fear that my children's grandchildren will not be able to see a wild horse, and how sad is that? So we have to get back to honoring and respecting the horse. And if we could get every human being to do that, then horse slaughter would end.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Neta. It's been a real pleasure to have you on here. Good luck with everything coming in the next year, and I believe that, you know, while people watch the documentary, Their Last Ride, it'll be mind-blowing and kind of like heart-blowing for people when they walk out after having seen it. And thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Thank you, Yenny, for having me on your show. It's been a blessing, for sure.
All right. Well, have a really great rest of your day, and let's talk again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, Neta.
Bye-bye.
So that was Neta Rhyne, and she started Thundering Hooves as a vehicle to create awareness for horses who are slaughter-bound, and together with Michael Aku Rodriguez, Aku is the producer and writer and director of Their Last Ride, and it's I suggest everybody try and catch it at the Equus Film Festival if it gets anywhere near them. So thanks so much for listening to this segment on Blue Sky Radio. My name is Yenny. You can also find us at radiowaterloo.ca. And if you live in Kitchener and Waterloo here in Ontario, Canada, you can find us at 102.7 FM.